coming at you. Good Tuesday, everybody. Welcome once again to BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Yes, I am flying solo today. Matthew is Lake Amistad in a lightning and rainstorm. Bradley, he's not fishing. He actually had some stuff to do today. He is going to be in studio once again tomorrow, so we are looking forward to that. But today, a really good show, and hopefully toward the end of the show, I'm actually going to take some phone calls, see if the Sunline hotline is working now. So always looking to get feedback from you guys out there watching live, and a tremendous amount of feedback from the people that are watching stuff on YouTube and on the iTunes podcast. I try to answer every single one, but just keep sending in the comments and questions. I love responding to you guys. You guys are very, very passionate about this game, and I greatly appreciate all your thoughts and concerns about what is going on in the game of professional bass fishing. All right, today, good show. We're going to go to Bill Lowen. Hey, the guy's having a great season, sitting in 9th in the Angler of the Year standings, and having a solid season. Been doing this a long time. I think the only year that he didn't fish on the Elite Series was the very first season. And then he fished the Opens that year, qualified for the Elite Series, and we're going to kind of reflect on his career in the Bassmaster Elite Series. But, man, 2019, having a great season, and we'll get into some of the things that he has done this year to progress toward the top of the Angler of the Year standings. He's actually on Lake St. Clair. Our plan is that we were going to have him on live via Skype, but there were some technical issues that we just couldn't get worked out. We tried, but we are going to have him on the phone to see what he has going on right now fishing on Lake St. Clair. The second half of the show, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off, but there is a I'd say 50-50 chance that we're going to have a special guest on, and actually I should say special guests, multiple guests on from one location. And we have to mention, we've got the second round, I don't know if that's the right term, but the second wave of the Major League Fishing Table Rock event going on right now, and they have cut to the top 40. Both of the qualifying rounds are over, and both Mike McClellan and James Watson failed to qualify. And folks, I have been really, really honest with everybody on here. I know what Mike said. I know what James said, but this game is so mental. And to go back-to-back events and not make the cut on your home body of water that you're familiar with, hopefully I have a surprise for you. Hopefully we might be able to talk to one of these guys and pick his brain on what the heck happened this week. And I'm curious. We had both of them on. Both of them said they were going to make adjustments. And unfortunately, neither one of them were able to put things together in this game. And folks, I've said it a zillion times. This is a different game to where they surpassed and got a little grip to go in their bank account. So it is just very, very unfortunate, and I feel for them, man. That is just mental anguish being placed on them, not being able to perform as they know that they can perform on their home body of water. So we'll get into that. I guess the story as far as qualifying, really two stories. One, Jacob Wheeler catching 160 pounds over 2 days, and I think he only had a little over 30 pounds on the second day, cruised into the elimination round. And then the other story is, look who was the leader yesterday in the final round of qualification for the elimination round. The initials, Kevin Van Dam. The man has only had one check all season, and he put things together yesterday. But once again, everything is dropped. The weights are now 0. Now you got 40 guys trying to make it to the top 10 and make it to the final day. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens and see if these guys can continue to put stuff together as they did on the first 2 days of this event. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with Bill Lowen live from Lake St. Clair, and hopefully I'm flying solo, folks. I'll try to get to the instant feedback. I'll try to do the best I can here. Bradley tomorrow. We're also going to have Matt on live via Skype tomorrow for Amistad. So a fun week still to come. So everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Sleek new design with easy control file. The clearest images underwater with uncompromising range. Live mapping from the touchscreen. View notifications, video, even Google Maps on screen. And for the first time ever, real-time view of fish movements with live sight sonar. HDS Live. New from Lowrance.
I got my power pole down, stuck in the mud in the bottom of the lake, sitting so still in the wind and the waves, could even be a hurricane. I got my power pole down.
AFCO has a new foul weather rain suit called the Hydronaut. A lot of the features that I really like about it first is the speed vent hood. If it's raining out, how a person gets wet is when you run down the lake and the hood comes down. With the speed vent hood, it's going to stay up. It has a camera mount in the pocket on the chest. The Hydronaut has a 2-layer, 100% waterproof nylon shell. If you're interested in a rain suit that has a lot of cool features that's going to keep you dry, you need to check out the Hydronaut from AFCO.
Aaron Martins here. I'm going to be telling you about a new product by Sunline. It's Siglon PE x8. I've been using it almost extensively all year for my frogging, flipping, drop shotting, shaky heading, worming, jerk baiting. It's by far my favorite Sunline braid. I honestly, I don't say this unless I think it's true, but honestly it's the best braid in the market of any of the braids. Definitely check it out. It's a price point line, $14.95 for 165 yards, and that could last you a whole year, just one spool with using leader material. It's Siglon PE x8. It's my favorite braid, and I think if you use it, it'll be your favorite braid too.
Blue Water by TH Marine, offering LED lighting solutions for your boat, trailer, truck, ATV, and so much more. Engineered and built to be rugged with waterproof and submersible options. Designed for easy installation, Blue Water is available in a variety of colors and styles. All backed by a limited lifetime warranty. Blue Water by TH Marine.
All right, I'm back on a Tuesday flying solo, and we are ready to go to our first guest of the day. As I mentioned to open the show, having a great season so far, so let's bring him in. Cue the music down here. All right, Bill, you there, man?
I am, buddy.
Hey, thanks for taking time out. Greatly appreciate it. And you are actually on the water right now, correct?
I am. We are sitting on Lake St. Clair. We just idled out of the marina and ready to get out here and catch some big smallmouth.
Now, why St. Clair? That seems kind of, is it a promotional thing? Are you fun fishing? What are you doing?
Well, I'm only about 4.5 hours from St. Clair, so we actually fish here a lot. And my boss and them from Express Boats decided, hey, it'd be cool. They've never caught big smallmouth before, so they decided they'd drive all the way up from Hot Springs, which is about a 17-hour ride, to come up here. And we invited the guys from SeaDeck, and there's some guys from Yamaha here, so we got 2 Express X21s up here running around, and we're all out here having a good time.
That's awesome. Now, did you go out yesterday, or is this your first day?
Yeah, I've been here since Saturday, and the weather has not been very cooperative. It's been windy and rainy, and yesterday and today seem like it's going to be pretty good. And there's some guys here that have never caught smallmouth before, and they've caught their personal best, some 5-pounders and things like that. So it's that time of the year up here where all the fish crash the banks to come in and spawn, and it's fun. It's fun to come up here and just relax and have a good time catching smallmouth.
All right, very cool. Bill, you've had a great season, a couple of top 12 finishes. Very, very consistent. Your worst finish so far was 47th on a body of water that I thought you might do a little bit better at the SJR. Why so much success this season?
Yeah, can't really put your thumb on it. I feel like I'm not doing anything different. It all comes down to getting the right bites, and this year I've been getting the right bites. I've had some instances this year where I've lost some key fish that would have made a tremendous difference, but I'm not going to harp on that or get down about that. Just keep your head up and keep moving forward, and hopefully we can continue the run that we're on. I feel like if we can get through Gunnersville, we'll be sitting in really good shape for the season.
I want to go back in history a little bit, and when I was trying to get ready for the show, I was looking at some of your historical performances and the fact that you got started in this game, at least from a bass standpoint, back in 2004 or 2005. I can't remember exactly. You qualified, you fished the Opens, and that first season, man, the first 10 tournaments that you fished, you got 7 checks out of your first 10 events, and you were just coming in guns a-blazing. From that start there to where you are now, what has been the biggest change in your game, or are you still doing the same thing that you did 14 years ago?
Well, if I look at the whole picture, I would have to say that I'm still playing my game, because just to elaborate back on that, my very first year, all my buddies said, hey, how can you go fish the tour? You've never been anywhere, basically out of your home waters. And I said, hey, look, I'm just going to go fish my style. And if it works, it works. If it don't, then I don't need to be there. So my very first year, that's exactly what I did. I fished my style, my shallow game, and it worked out. And then my second year on tour, which was one of my worst years ever, I tried to do the different things, and I listened to the doc talk and all. I had the worst year I ever had. So I told my wife, I said, look, I will never not fish my style again. And that's what I've done for the last 13 years. Naturally, you have to mix some things in there and learn how to fish offshore and things like that, which I've done. But, I look at guys like Denny Brower and them that have made a career fishing shallow. And, it seems like I always feel like when you're fishing in your comfort zone, you're always going to fish to the best of your potential. And when you get outside of that, you can really stumble and have some hiccups. So I keep playing my game, and it's working out pretty good.
All right, now I want to go back once again to your history because you've been close to winning one of the blue trophies 3 times. I mean, you have 3 second-place finishes, and the one that sticks out on my mind because I talk about this lake a lot, and I wish that you guys would go there more. When you finished second in 2008 on Old Hickory, you lost to Kevin Worth. So close, Bill, and the other 2 instances where you finished second was in 2010 on Clear Lake, and then on a body of water that I would think that you would do extremely well back in 2015 on the Chesapeake. But that's kind of a mixture there. Old Hickory, Chesapeake title, and then Clear Lake, big fish, swim baits, all that stuff and everything. Have you become more versatile?
Absolutely. Like I said, I still play my shallow game, but there's a point where you better, if you got to go ledge fish, you better do that and things like that. So I'm smart enough to know that I'm not going to die when I should be fishing out instead of fishing in. So the whole key is you have to be versatile, you know what I mean? But like I said, looking back on, the years of being on the elites, I just always feel like I fish better when I fish my game.
How high is your confidence right now?
It's pretty high. You know what I mean? You know how it is when you got that momentum going. You just keep riding it. You know what I mean? It seems like every decision I make is right, and and as long as that keeps working out, your confidence stays extremely high. And like I said, I feel like if I get through this Gunnersville event, because it's going to be an out deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, you can probably catch some fish up shallow, but I don't think you can catch the right ones up there to compete unless something happens here before we get there. Big amounts of rains and things like that again that push them fish up. But for the most part, you're going to have to fish out. And like I said, feel like if I can get through that one in one piece, realistically, being 30 points out of AOI is not undoable. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we got a long season left, so I'm really not thinking about that. All I'm thinking about is the next tournament ahead of me, and just hopefully keep the confidence rolling.
All right, fishing out, is that one of your weaknesses?
To a point it is. Now, I say it's my weakness. I have no issue going out there, throwing a big worm, a jig, a flutter spoon, a hair jig, things like that. Where I struggle is my biggest weakness is deep cranking. When I got that big plug on there, I don't even feel like I'm going to hit the water when I throw it out there. So if there was anything in my game that I needed to work on, it would be deep cranking. You know what I mean? When I got a crankbait on there that's got a bill on it so big I could eat soup with it, I kind of lose all my confidence. So if there was something I needed to work on, that's what it would be.
All right, now I want to set the record straight. We have a lot of fans that are from the upper Midwest, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. I want you to set the record straight here, Bill. How tough is the fishing in the upper Midwest?
Depending on where you're at, it can be decent, but for the most part, it's truly tougher than guys realize. I grew up, fishing the Ohio River where 6 or 8 pounds will win in the summertime, and when they're really biting, 10 or 12 pounds will win. You know what I mean? So to say it's tough, it's tougher than guys realize. There's still days where I'll go fishing here and never get a bite, and that really plays with your head. We are not accustomed to getting those 40 or 50 bites a day that a lot of guys, from Texas and Alabama and places like that are used to getting. We knew every day when we put the boat in the water, we're going out and fishing for 5 bites. And those 5 bites may weigh 6 pounds or they may weigh 10 pounds. So it's truly tough. But for me, I think that's why, I feel like I've been so successful on the elites is that, I'm a grinder. I never, ever give up because I'm used to getting 5 bites a day. And when I'm on bodies of water where I'm getting 30, 40, 50 bites a day, I'm in heaven, so, I think that's why I excel when those events get extremely tough because a lot of the guys are already mentally beat because they're not getting enough bites, and to me, it's just another day.
All right, I want to go to the instant feedback now. Will in Indiana wants to know, are you going to be back in town for the BFL out of Tanner's on Saturday?
I will not.
As you laugh, why would he ask that question, Bill?
Well, I mean, typically if I'm home, I try to jump in those and fish them, but I'll be honest with you, here in the last 2 years, I probably haven't even made a cast on the Ohio River just because of my schedule's been booked up and things like that. But to answer his question, if he's going to be there, the river is fishing really good right now. I mean, it's taking 14 pounds to win on the Ohio River, which is huge bags, and there's been a lot of big fish caught this year. So if he wants to have a shot at winning that, if he's fishing, he's going to need somewhere between 10 and 14 pounds, I think. So should be a good event.
All right, David in Wisconsin wants to know, are there any things that you miss about not being in a fiberglass boat?
Absolutely not. And I'm so glad that he asked that question. So many people have the misconception that an aluminum boat cannot perform basically on the elites, because of the vast waters that we go to, the big waters and things like that. And for the guys that don't know, the Express boat has a padded hull under it, just like a fiberglass boat. It is not your traditional flat bottom John boats, which is what's on the market. And them boats beat your brains out. This boat has a padded hull under it, and I would put it up against the ride on any fiberglass boat in the industry without a doubt. I mean, I've had it in, stuff that is big, like that you don't even want to be out in, and the boat doesn't jar you, it doesn't beat you. I mean, heck, at Winyah Bay, I made the 3-hour run each way in this boat, and as well as my teammates did. So we had 3 Express boats that made that big long run across the bay and things like that. So I have not been in a situation yet where I've been like, this was a bad move. And for a guy like me that fishes shallow all the time, it's tremendous. I get places where I could never dream I could get in a glass boat. And then when we're on the big waters, and running in the rough stuff, I don't have any concerns. It's the best move I've ever made. And for guys that are aluminum boat guys that have never been in an Express, I think if they get the opportunity to ever get in a ride and take a ride in one, they'd be absolutely blown away.
Hey, maybe we could have a one-on-one live between you and John Cox in the Battle of the Aluminum Boats.
Right. That would be good,
Pick the body of water, some body of water that would really kind of showcase both of your skills and get after it, and last man standing wins. That would be cool.
Right. Exactly.
What do you think about the remainder of the schedule? Obviously, going up north, you got Guntersville, but what are your thoughts on the remainder of the schedule? And are you going to practice at any of the venues? And I don't know what the rules are. Can you?
Yeah, you can practice, and as I'm sitting here talking to you, Chuck from C-Deck has a fish on, looks like a largemouth, not what we're after, but still, hey, it's all fun. But, I'm not going to go practice at any of the upcoming events just because, I've been there, and, I'm really looking forward, like I said, if I feel like I get through Guntersville, I should be in good shape. I really like the St. Lawrence River. I really like Lake Cayuga. And, the tournament that, I'm really kind of looking forward to is when we go back to Oklahoma in September, when it's going to be extremely tough and it's going to be a grind.
Yeah.
So that ought to fit right into my hand.
Yeah. Have you been on Fort Gibson before, Bill?
The only time I was there was when they canceled us off the river and put us there.
Yeah.
So I know very little about it, but I know it's a muddy, shallow water deal, and that's going to be a grind. And that's, like I said, that's right up my alley.
It fits your style well, Bill. It really does.
Absolutely.
And with so much water, obviously, unless you've been under a rock, the amount of rain and the cancellations and the flooding that has taken place on the Arkansas River, Fort Gibson, as I've mentioned on the show numerous times, is like a holding pool for the water that's coming out of Grand and a ton of water in eastern Oklahoma that flows right into the Arkansas River. So I am so excited to see what you guys do on this body of water, because hopefully by then in September, who knows, but hopefully by then it will probably be down to normal pool. And it's really going to be cool to see how you guys attack this body of water, because typically the month of September, a tough month. And it's really a tough month all across the nation, except maybe up north somewhere. So
I think
can't
even
wait.
in September it's tough up north. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and my heart goes out to everybody that's dealing with the floods this year. You know, it's been a crazy year, and hopefully the waters will recede and everything will get back to normal. And you know, we'll go on with life. You know.
Yep. All right. TJ in North Carolina wants to know: do you find yourself stopping and fueling up more often on the water in the aluminum boat rather than the fiberglass?
Well, you know, this boat holds 45 gallons of fuel, so it's got a big fuel capacity. You know what I mean? The other benefit is I don't have to run as hard to go as fast. You know what I mean? Naturally, when we jump in our boats, we want to put the hammer to that SHO. You know what I mean? But I don't have to run as hard. You know, to run that 65 to 70 mile an hour. So finding myself stopping the fuel up, absolutely not. I mean, 45 gallons is a lot of fuel. I mean, most of your glass boats are holding 47 to 50 gallons, you know what I mean, for the exception of the few that have a tremendous amount of fuel in it. But I have not been in a situation with 45 gallons where I felt like I've hurt myself.
All right. Good stuff right there. Bill, you have over $1 million in earnings in your career. And with so much going on in this industry, is this a good time? Do you feel really good about the spot that you're in, being in this professional game right now? And do you think the future is bright?
You know, I can't be happier with where I'm at right now. And, you know, there was a lot of changes that went on and, you know, a lot of invitations that went out. And, you know, I was one of the guys that got an invitation and declined it. Because my heart's always been with bass, and my sponsors absolutely did not line up with, you know, the other deal. And I've always been that guy that I feel like if you can't support your sponsors 100% of the time, that, you know, maybe that's not a good move. So I am extremely happy with where I'm at. And, you know, I always, at the end of the day, want to do what's right for me and my family and my sponsors. And, I think by me staying at Bass was definitely the right move. Now, how, you know, looking at the future, it's hard to say. I mean, it's strange times, and me as a person, as a man, I wish things would have went a little differently. You know, I mean, I think things could have been handled a little different, and the anglers and the fishing world would not have been, I don't want to say torn, you know what I mean, but it put a lot of strain on the industry, and that choices had to be made on, you know, at the end of the day, if we spread the industry too thin, it's not good. You know what I mean? There's got to be a give and take, and I think if things maybe could have got handled a little different, the industry wouldn't be as shook up as it is right now. But with that being said, you know, you can never fault a man for making a decision that he thinks is going to better his career or maybe change things. And I'm never going to fault someone for doing that. Like I said, I just feel like I wish things could have been handled a little differently.
All right, man. We are talking to Elite Series professional Bill Lowen. Bill, one final question, and then I'll let you go. I know you had a 21st place finish at Fork, but I was just totally entrenched in that event when I watched it live, when I watched the replay. How would you evaluate your performance at Fork? Did you miss it? Did you lose fish? I mean, what was the situation with you at Fork?
Well, you know, I didn't miss it at all. And, you know, we talked about I play that shallow game, and what hurts me the most in playing that shallow game all the time is Mother Nature. You know, when she dumps those big rains on you and things blow out and flood out, that's where I get in trouble at. And that's exactly what happened at Fork. You know, we got big rains, and my key areas that I had the first day of that event were blown out. I mean, they were red mud. And so my key areas the first day were trashed. You know, and I think I had a 13-pound sack that day. So I regrouped and had some other areas where I could flip bushes and things like that I went to the second and third day, and you seen, I catch 20 pounds one day and almost 26 the next. But I thought I was going to really, really catch them that first day. So, to say I missed it, absolutely not. Mother Nature got me again, and that's just the chance you take when you play that shallow game. I caught some big giant fish in practice. I caught an 11-pounder there in practice. Swimming a jig in the grass, and I thought that was going to be a big player. But like I said, Mother Nature got me that first day, and that's just a chance you take.
Man, it was really, really fun to watch, though. I've talked about that show and that event numerous times this year, but the big fish that were caught and Lake Fork definitely showcased itself during that event.
Oh, it was unbelievable, and that is my first time ever fishing Lake Fork.
Wow.
So to like I said, it was truly awesome to go there and catch them big ones, and it's definitely a different body of water.
All right, man, we're going to let you go. Get back to the smallmouth fishing there on St. Clair. And thanks for taking time out, man. Wish you nothing but the best. Can't wait to see you guys when you come to Oklahoma for the Fort Gibson event.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it. You'll have a good day.
All right, man. Take care. Have fun.
All right. Thank you.
See ya. There you have it, folks. Bill Lowen live from St. Clair. And, wow, fish shallow. I did not know that at Lake Fork. So I knew that there were a few guys that did that, but I thought the vast majority of the field during that event were out there throwing the crankbait and keen on the shad spawn. All right, here's what we're going to do, folks. We never take 2 breaks during the show, but since I am flying solo, I've got to take a break so I can set up, hopefully, our special guests. And if that doesn't go down, then we'll try and take some phone calls here on a Tuesday. So everybody stay tuned. We're going to take a short break, come back, hopefully with a surprise guest.
Sleek new design with easy control file. The clearest images underwater with uncompromising range. Live mapping from the touchscreen. View notifications, video, even Google Maps on screen. And for the first time ever, real-time view of fish movements with live sight sonar. HDS Live. New from Lowrance.
I got my power pole down, stuck in the mud in the bottom of the lake, sitting so still in the wind and the waves, could even be a hurricane. I got my power pole down.
AFCO has a new foul weather rain suit called the Hydronaut. A lot of the features that I really like about it first is the speed vent hood. If it's raining out, how a person gets wet is when you run down the lake and the hood comes down. With the speed vent hood, it's going to stay up. It has a camera mount in the pocket on the chest. The Hydronaut has a 2-layer, 100% waterproof nylon shell. If you're interested in a rain suit that has a lot of cool features that's going to keep you dry, you need to check out the Hydronaut from AFCO.
Aaron Martins here. I'm going to be telling you about a new product by Sunline. It's Siglon PE x8. I've been using it almost extensively all year for my frogging, flipping, drop shotting, shaky heading, worming, jerk baiting. It's by far my favorite Sunline braid. I honestly, I don't say this unless I think it's true, but honestly it's the best braid in the market of any of the braids. Definitely check it out. It's a price point line, $14.95 for 165 yards, and that could last you a whole year, just one spool with using leader material. It's Siglon PE times 8. It's my favorite braid, and I think if you use it, it'll be your favorite braid too.
Blue Water by TH Marine. Offering LED lighting solutions for your boat, trailer, truck, ATV, and so much more. Engineered and built to be rugged with waterproof and submersible options. Designed for easy installation, Blue Water is available in a variety of colors and styles. All backed by a limited lifetime warranty. Blue Water by TH Marine.
All right, we are back on a Tuesday. Going to go to a very special guest. I think even a group of guests here on BTL. And as I mentioned, beginning of the show tomorrow, Brad Hallman will be back in studio, and Matt will be live from Lake Amistad down in Del Rio, Texas. So let me get things queued up here. Let's see here if I can get this going. All right, you there, man?
Yeah, we're here.
Folks, you are looking at a live shot of James Watson, Jeff Sprague, and who I can't see. I can't see.
Coulter.
I still can't see. He's cut out of the shot.
I see him. It's Brandon Coulter.
Brandon, how are you, man?
Good. How's it going, buddy?
It's going well, man. Sorry about that. You were kind of out of the shot there on my view. So there you have it, folks. And James, kind of a surprise. We were trying to get things set up with Bill and with the Skype ID that we use. You just happened to be logged on to Skype, and you were like, hey, am I on the show? And I thought, you know what, man? You want to come on the show? You're welcome anytime. And I'm glad you're on the show because the fans are wanting to know. Last week you were on BTL. You said that things were going to get straightened out. You said you were going to make the adjustments in your game. You said that you were going to make the cut. And, dude, the fans want to know what the hell happened.
I suck ass. My ass is sucking buttermilk.
Come on.
Your ass is sucking buttermilk?
Watson, come on, man. Seriously. What the hell is going on?
Hey, I'll just put it to this way. You can't go 1 hour in this setup and not catch something. And then catch one and then go another hour and not catch something. And I can promise you this, in this format, the difference between 18th place and 22nd place is the guys that don't lose a certain amount of fish. It's not about the guys that find the right fish. It's about the guys that don't lose as many fish. I'm convinced of it.
All right. David in Wisconsin wants to know, during the rain delay, did you go home?
I was too far away.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna throw some stats out at you real quick, and the man to your left, I'd like to get his thoughts on this. I was really curious whether or not that you guys were going to catch them better the second week than the first week. And when I went back and I looked at the stats, and I only looked at the cut line, okay? In Group A of Week 1, that you guys were there. It took 94 pounds to make the cut. In Group 2 in Week 1, it took 83 pounds. This week in Group A, it took 85 pounds, and then in Group B, it took 82 pounds. So it was just a little bit less than it was in the previous week. And then you had a handful of guys that just blew it out of the water this week on the top end with 160 pounds by Wheeler and Shin's performance. And, Jeff, what do you think about that? You're familiar with this body of water. You're having an outstanding season. Does this kind of and did things kind of play out the way that you thought they would?
When we got back here, I was really expecting it to be slower and to be the fish to be don't get me wrong, to be grouped up probably out a little deeper. And that showed that they are, but they're not everywhere. They're not all out there yet. So I really expected it to be slower, and it was not slower. I mean, when we got here in practice, we had the ideal conditions, and these fish were post-spawn chomping like you've never seen. It was phenomenal. And then obviously after the second day of practice, the conditions changed like what we have right now. You guys can't see, but we're staring at the lake. Glass calm, little overcast. So it's completely different. And I think some guys, adjusted and made it work for themselves. And some guys just weren't able to make that adjustment. But no, total different lake. But still, it just goes to show you how quickly these fishermen adapt and how good that they are. And then that's where we are. It's just a lot of fish here to be caught.
Brandon, did you like the late start? What were your thoughts about that?
No. Word, no. No, it was all right. I get that they're trying to change things up and seeing kind of where things fit with the new tour. But, yesterday, Mark, you hit on it. You said that, the weights were slightly down. We lost an hour and 20 minutes of fishing yesterday. Had we not lost that hour and 20, I think our weights would have been the exact same as the week before. So, maybe more because we were at 80 pounds with an hour and 20 minutes left.
We were chomping.
So that would have been well over 90 pounds to make the cut, which would have been basically mirrored the week before. So, the late start, it has its own unique set of issues. I think that'll be adjusted throughout the rest of the events. But, it was interesting to get the evening bite. I think it added something new to the sport. That's one thing about this new format is we can kind of tweak it and adjust it and not do the same old. So I think that's really positive.
All right, James, Matt and I have discussed this numerous times throughout the years, the mental aspect of this game. And we've actually talked about it with you. And I really want to know, dude, no kidding aside, mentally, what does this last two tournaments do to you, and what are you going to do to recover, if anything?
Well, I'll recover, but I can tell you that I've never been, not even in my career as an Army or soldier or going through. I went through some pretty rigorous training in the Army. One of them being just going to drill sergeant school and the memorization and stuff and the pressure and as far as going through Sapper Leader School, U.S. Army Sapper Leader School, it was tough. You go days without sleep, very little to eat. All those things, none of them compared to the last 3 weeks of the stress and the pressure it's been put on me and by people that are watching your show and watching other shows or following social media about, Watson's going to spoon jack their ass here and this and that, and only to find out that you just, the pressure, I'm not going to say it got to me, but it got to me.
But he's a professional. He will be.
I'll be back.
Fine.
I just would rather not fish on my pond because with our new format, there is no home field advantage. I don't care where we go or what we do. Well, with the exception of Andy Morgan winning his lake.
But he won with a flipping stick.
He did. Yeah. It was a flipping stick. I could not.
And the conditions set up for Andy Morgan to win that event.
That's right. And this did not set up for my spoon jacking because, one, they weren't really on it good. Alton Jones Jr. caught them, but I knew that I would get throttled out deep on structure and on the bank if I put a spoon in my hand. I knew it. Now, if I wanted to go catch the 5 best fat fish, then I'd give all these guys a run for their money. But that's not what this tournament was about. So I didn't spend any time in the tournament jacking any docks because I wouldn't have done any better than I did right here.
Brandon, when you look at this event this week, not the one prior, but when you look at it this week, what do you think you could have changed, if anything, and had a better tournament this week?
You know, I made it too hard the first day. You know, I mean, I dug myself such a hole. I was in, I don't know, somewhere around last and had 23 pounds, you know. One thing I've learned about this format is you got to go catch what you can catch early. You can't get behind, you know, because then you start pushing, then you start trying to change things, and, you know, you just got to go catch. And the first day I tried to do too many things the first period. I caught one bass in the first period. I think I had the record for the worst period of the week. And, you know, since that period, you know, I held pace and gained quite a bit. But that first period, I just made it too hard, you know, and went and tried some things and tried to kind of land on them, you know, and you know, find a big school or do something. So, you know, I would have made it easier on myself that first period and tried to keep pace and then made adjustments from there. And I didn't do a very good job of that.
All right, I'm going to get to you, Jeff, here in a minute. But this question's for James and Brandon. Throughout the day, especially in this event, do you ever tell your official, hey, I don't want to hear score tracker updates anymore. I don't want to hear any information. Just let me fish. James, you first.
I really, it's a little bit different than you see in the cup events. The boat official doesn't throttle on you like he does when you're on TV. So he asks you, how do you want updated? And you can tell him, I never want updated. And he'll only update you like every 30 minutes if you say that.
Is that what you did?
I always ask for him before he would say anything.
All right. Brandon, what about you?
You know, I don't like them. So, I mean, I do the same thing. I just do the minimum. And then what I do is in my 15-minute breaks, I have them give me a complete rundown of the field. You know, and you think you have ideas of how certain guys will fish, and so you know if certain guys are throttled, maybe they're shallow, maybe they're deep. But I think the most consistent thing I've seen on this is I've been wrong about all of it. So those rundowns in the period probably messed me up more than anything else, because when you think somebody's up shallow, they're out deep, and just when you think, you know, it's Aaron Martins and he's drop shotting, which he is this tournament, but, you know, next thing you know, you'll see him and he's flipping blackberry bushes and, you know. Yeah, you know, so you get it wrong way more than you get it right. So, but that's how I do it. I usually do a full rundown of the breaks.
All right, Jeff, you're having a career year. Bottom line, you really are. It's unbelievable the performances that you're putting together in this format. You had 116 pounds this week. What I want to know is, when it comes to day 2, Are you kind of taking your foot off the throttle? Are you saving stuff? Has that become a strategy as you have performed so well in this format? Is that part of it? Or are you practicing? Are you looking for other stuff when you feel comfortable that you are well inside the cut?
100%. So day 2, I, by the first hour of the second period here, I put down my primary pattern and just began running around looking for new water, just checking things out, areas of the lake that had changed, to see what was going on. Did a little graphing, run around, would stop here and there, make some casts with some different, try some different things, and would still catch a few fish. You could look and see. I would pick up 2 or 3 here. And if it would work, then I wouldn't fish anymore that way, So I used it to my advantage. That's just a luxury of catching fish. And it's not always going to be that way. And these guys, Watson and these guys have had that before. But when, like Coulter said, when you get behind the 8 ball and these guys are constantly putting a number up and you're not on the front side of that number.
Your crankbait, when you're reeling it in, starts doing this. I found myself reeling my freaking I found myself reeling my bait so fast yesterday.
I had to keep up with the boat, because my boat was on. My boat was going down the bank 100 miles an hour.
You might as well have the big motor.
I was just going to top water with the crankbait.
Might as well have the big motor running.
But yeah, I mean, so that's what happens is once you get behind and you know it because you got the score tracker in your ear, your mentality changes and your fishing abilities, they go down quickly. You don't realize even the most seasoned anglers, like any of these guys that are out here, once you get behind the 8-ball, you begin to fish differently. You start trying to force things. You start trying to make things happen. Now, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But when you start fishing fast or you start fishing sloppy, it will show. I mean, and it's really hard to catch up. And a lot of times you don't even mean to do it, Mark. It just happens. We've all been there. We've all seen it. And that's what's really cool about this format is I can, like you said, I can ask, hey, what's Watson caught today? Where's Watson at? Or who's leading and what's he got or what's the top. So what I would try to do is I like to get, if I have my cushion, I like to say, okay, I'm in 10th and I've got 25 pounds. What's my cushion between 10th and 20th and 21st? I want to know. So if they say you have a 6-pound cushion, that's not enough. Yeah. You need a 26-pound cushion, to be honest with you. So you continue to fish because at any time those guys could go on a flurry and you go from 10th to 21st in a snap of a finger. And then it does. It happens. These guys will tell you, if you yank your trolling motor and make a 15, 20-minute ride, by the time you get back and you put your trolling motor down and you ask your boat official where you stand, he's going to tell you.
You're 4 pounds behind.
Yep, you move from 10th to 23rd. I mean, that's how quick it happens. So a lot of strategy goes into this game.
All right, Jeff, here, I want you to do me a favor. Take your right hand and put it up to the camera just a little bit, not around him. Put it up to the camera. All right, let me see how – you're pretty steady. You're not nervous at all. Now, lay it flat like this in front of the camera. That's pretty steady, all right? You're not afraid. The fact of the matter is the initials, KVD, had 123 pounds yesterday, and for the second time this season, it seems like he's dialed in. You afraid?
No, sir. No. I mean, here's the deal. I'm excited, not nervous. I want to go out and see, what today brings and see how it goes. Yesterday was a conditional fishery. The wind blew, storms rolled in, the fish chomped. Van Dam is probably the greatest adapter out there on the fly. He will read it from everything that I know, and I don't know Kevin that well. But from everything I've ever learned about him, he's very conditional. And
there's a big one jumping right there.
He'll make the adjustments, and yesterday was an adjustment day, and it showed. So I look forward to seeing what today brings and getting out there and maybe, I don't know, top 10s, whatever.
So you kind of got to look at those weights too, Jeffries. And I'm a little bit different, and maybe that's why I'm on the suck bus. But you kind of know what your capabilities are with what you got going.
Yeah.
And you look at some people like what Shin has going or what Kevin has going and those kind of weights they put up. And then you say, what I'm doing, I really have to have about 3 more extra hours or really get on a super, super good stretch to catch that kind of weight that those guys are catching. So I'm more of a 4th place. If I can strive to be in the 4th place in this one, that's kind of realistic. So,
all right.
Never before have we been able to kind of predict or see what's going on until you get back into the weigh-in. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. All right, final question for all 3 of you. I'm going to start with Brandon. Are you ready to move on from Table Rock Lake, Brandon?
Well, I think they've had a lot of rain in Wisconsin, and I've heard it might be flooded, and so there's a chance
we're coming back.
We're coming back for a June tournament.
Yeah.
But no, actually, you know what? This place is great. I've had obviously the last couple of weeks haven't been good for me here, but I've had some good tournaments here in the past, and I love Table Rock Lake. I like staying at Watson's house, and we got a beautiful place here. So, I enjoy every time we come here. But to answer your question, I'm ready to go somewhere else.
Get out of here.
All right, James.
Get the hell out of here. Good God, get me on the road.
Jeff?
Absolutely. We've spent a lot of time on this body of water.
He's caught every goddamn bass in this pond. He's got him named and numbered. Of course he's ready to leave. Shut up, Jeff.
we get to go catch some brown bass next, guys, in Wisconsin. So
You got to catch brown bass here.
I did catch some brown bass here.
You caught every bass.
All right. Hey, I got to give it up to you guys for coming on, especially James after coming on the show and saying, hey, you were going to pull your head out of your butt. And things happen, man.
Listen, I'm a good loser.
You are.
If my fans don't appreciate the fact that I know how to lose, they can suck it.
Jeez. Okay. But Brandon, James, Jeff, man, best of luck to you for the remainder of the season. And Jeff, good luck over hopefully
AOI.
the next couple of days right there, man.
AOI, he's going to cook hot dogs for us as soon as he wins AOI.
And I'm not even buying all beef franks. I'm buying them made with pork, chicken, and beef.
Chicken leg.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, man. Watson, thank you, dude.
Thanks, Mark.
You're always welcome on here. You guys take care and be safe, all right?
Everybody.
See you, Mark. Thanks.
All right, see ya. There you have it. Brandon Coulter, James Watson, and Jeff Sprague right there off of the cuff. And, wow. Hey, I'll give it up to him. At least he came on the show. He didn't have to. He didn't have to after the performance that he had this week at Table Rock. So giving it up to him there. Great show. I want to thank Bill Lowen for coming on, giving us some insight on what he did and what he has going on this season. And then obviously want to thank James Watson, Brandon Coulter, and Jeff Sprague for coming on the show and giving us a little bit of insight on round number 2 at Table Rock. All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up today. Appreciate all the instant feedback tomorrow. Bradley Hallman's going to be back in studio. And hang on a second. Okay, had to get the music queued up. Didn't have my partner in crime over on the other side of the studio desk. So tomorrow, Matt's going to be live via Skype from Amistad. Give us some insight on Kurt Dove's Bass Camp for youngsters, junior high school kids, college kids, all kinds of kids. Taking care of the youth down in Del Rio. So everybody be safe. Enjoy a beautiful day here in Oklahoma. We got 3 days of rain coming up after today. So I'm going to get out and try and enjoy a little bit of the sunshine. Oh, by the way, real quick, tomorrow, I got a package. I didn't want to talk about it today. I was a little skeptical with everything that's kind of gone on lately about packages that I got. But this one, the best package I've probably ever received from a fan. And it came from California. All right? We're going to talk about it tomorrow. Everybody be safe. I'm out of here.